And we are recording. All right. Hi, Schultz's production classes.
I
So me and Declan, we did a masterclass from Samuel Jackson. And we're just gonna go over a couple of tools that you could actually use. So Declan, you want to start?
yeah, so one of the main things that Samuel Jackson was talking about is when it comes to portraying realistic characters, you really need to draw from the world around you because if you're acting in a realistic play and you're trying to show somebody who's meant to actually be alive and it's not absurdist or anything, uh, you need to play them like a real person. And the best way to do that is by observing the people around you and observing yourself and seeing what normal people do and like what their reactions are and how they go about their tasks in the day. And then you can hopefully mimic that and make your performance as realistic as possible.
Another way that Jackson does what he does is by making a backstory of a character. Now, the audience isn't going to know that backstory, but that doesn't really matter. It matters that you know it and that whoever the writer is, like if you're writing a script, that you also know it as well. Because that way you can add context to your character. Like, why do they say this line? Why do they do this action? Why do they walk this certain way? Why do they, not stand up or not do this? And the context and making that backstory, even if it's figurative and imaginative, um, is a good tool.
Yeah, and one way that we went about doing that was creating mind maps and basically taking everything of significance that whatever your role is, even if it's a really small role, taking whatever you can from it and trying to extract a character from that, and as well as asking yourself questions about the character. And even if you don't know the answers, making up answers because you want to be making strong decisions when it comes to portraying the different characters.
Another thing that I will say about the lines and when you're delivering lines is mess around with tone and just play around with it. Because what Jackson says about this is that one tone may seem natural to you, but it very well might be a second or a third or a fourth variation of that line that's better for your character. So mess around with tone. And Declan, last one.
Yeah, and then the final thing that Jackson talked about a lot was working with directors as productively as possible. And when it comes to his acting, he is a film actor, so some of the stuff didn't exactly carry over, but I think a lot of it does have importance when it comes to theater acting as well. He talked about getting to know your director and making sure you know the amount of autonomy you're meant to have and the amount of independence you're meant to have in the different decisions that you make, because um, when it comes to some directors, they have an idea for the play, and if you start making all these strong decisions on your own without listening to what they've already told you, then you could be taking your character in a different direction that they don't really want for the piece. But other directors may want you to make your own decisions and may want you to find a character that has more meaning for you. So make sure that you know the type of director that you're working with before you accidentally step over some boundaries.
And in the context of the production class, that usually come in like a conversation with your peers and just trying to talk with everyone and figure out like what makes more sense. Um, you don't want to develop a really strong character, but then only have like 3 lines at the end of the day. So just work with everyone around you and figure out what's the best balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Is that it?
Yep. See you guys.
Okay. Thank you. See you guys.